Hello, hello, and welcome back to The Big Show, hosted by yours truly, Jimmy Smith. Alongside of me, as always, a good friend of mine and color commentator. Guys, give it up one time. A good buddy of mine, Dwayne Ward.
What's up?
The Big Show. Hey, this is a podcast where we discuss a whole bunch of modern day issues like men's health, masculinity, relationships, the hard truth about dating, and of course, what makes a man a man. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get this big show started. If you guys missed Dwayne and I, it's because last week was a little bit unorthodox. And if you tuned in last week, you noticed that we were live on site in Dad Talk Today studios down, depending on where you live, in Georgia, the great state of Georgia, where Eric Carroll lives. And the three of us, Dwayne and a couple of his sons, myself, and of course, Eric had all gotten together for a guy's trip to do a little hunting.
It was awesome.
It was pretty cool, wasn't it?
Yeah. I highly recommend guys getting together and having like a guys weekend or guy time. I mean, I never thought that, I was like, oh, I'm a man's man. No, it was something. I'm not saying it to say it, but it's something I'm going to treasure for the rest of my life. I mean, it was awesome hanging out with you guys and just being guys. It was awesome.
Yeah. It was cool, man. It really was. And, I think guys need more of that. I really do. Women often, they get together, they do a lot of socializing, but guys don't do that as much, I don't think, as women do. And whenever guys do get a chance to do that, they leave with a lot of the same type of feelings that you're expressing now, which is, hey, I should have done this earlier. This was a great opportunity for us to get together, sound off, joke with each other, sharpen the saw, whatever you want to call it. But if you guys haven't seen some of the pictures on Facebook or what have you, go back and take a look at them. We've been posting them for about a week and a half now. Pretty funny stuff. You got Dwayne, his boys, and Eric all camoed out, looking like
you couldn't see us. We were invisible,
completely invisible to all deer. And then you got me. I don't do camo. I didn't buy any camo. I'm wearing like a black shirt and black shorts because that's the closest to you can't see me as I'm ever gonna get. And I went out there and listen. In my defense, I'm in a deer stand box with a slit like this big. You can't see anything but my eyes anyhow. So I don't know. Camo is not my thing. But you look good though, Dwayne. You guys look good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We had the whole camo thing going, and wherever we went, people were like, "Hey, you guys deer hunting?" Nah. This is fashion accessories. It was
everywhere we went. I mean, the entire crowd would stop and look, and I kind of felt out of place too because I'm the only one out of the 5 or 6 of us that didn't have camo on. These guys are walking in looking like Duck Dynasty. And
it was something else. Yeah. Everyone's like looking at us and they're looking at you and like one of these things doesn't, fit or whatever. But God, it was a fun time.
It was a good time. I think we probably ate at Waffle House 14 times because there's nowhere else to eat over there. He really lives out in the middle of nowhere, don't he?
Yes, Eric does. And again, shout out to the folks out in Georgia. A lot of great hospitality. Had a little bit of a shenanigan occur with my truck battery, and had to go to a Wally World to get a new one, and the place was closing. And I walked in there, fat, dumb, and happy, and they went ahead and opened everything up for me, got me a battery, and I was on my way. So. Shout out to the Georgia folks. They know some Southern hospitality. Yeah,
it was something else, but it was a good trip. And and you drove all the way from Texas.
12 hours. This 51-year-old fart drove 12 hours after working all day, and then driving there. I don't know how I did. We got to meet Caleb there. I think it was your first time meeting him.
Yeah,
great guy. He stopped in on his way to do. It's again one big happy dysfunctional family. I got to hang out for a bit, and it was just a fun time. I want to go back.
Yeah, I'm ready to go back too. And I tell you, I had my first. If you guys haven't had this experience, you're not missing anything. I had my first experience. Now, I'm not quite a city boy, but I'm pretty close to one, I guess, but I'm not quite a city boy. My first experience ever with a animal processing plant. Okay. I say animal because it's not just deer. There was hogs.
No.
There was other animals hanging from these hooks. And let me tell you something. The smell of death is something that I don't understand. These guys are walking in and out like it's just normal day.
Yeah.
It's another day at the office.
I smell like that half the time, so it's not that big of a deal.
That's what Brandy has to smell, a processing plant coming out of your ass most of the time. I literally dry heaved and could not stop dry heaving. I almost threw up because of the smell of death. It was awful. It was rancid.
I wish I would have got on the video because you see, again, you're a large figure. You make a presence, foreboding, as it were. For those who don't know, go back and watch last week's video. But I see him. It's at night. He's walking in, and all of a sudden, I see him do like an about face.
Yes,
and he is out just whoo. I mean, and literally just whoo. You were going.
I was trying to hold my composure. I was trying to keep whatever masculinity I had left, but I could not help
none.
It was just, I was dry heaving. I mean, when that smell hits you, it is unlike anything I can describe.
That's amore.
Oh my goodness. When the moon hit your eye, like a
it was something else. But that's a powerful odor. Powerful.
It is, but yeah, it was a great trip. And before we get started with the podcast, I gotta say, Brandy did a good job with your Christmas present behind you.
Yes, the Soundwave Christmas tree. She, everyone knows her, knows that she loves Christmas. She'll probably yell at me now because I'll miscount. I think we have 5. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 trees in the house.
7 Christmas trees.
7 trees, now including Soundwave, and that's Soundwave up there. So, and then she's adorned them with a couple of my smaller Transformer action figures or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, I think I see a couple of them hanging there too. Yeah. I'll tell you,
she does.
She knows your style, buddy.
She knows it. This was the only acceptable Christmas tree that I would allow in the house. So, or in my office.
How was your Thanksgiving?
Well, I would like to say it was uneventful. Had a little bit of fun there. My family came over, mother-in-law came over, and she unfortunately had a little bit of a spill.
She fell.
Coming in. Yeah, she fell. And even though I'm 51, as you got to kind of witness some of my leg issues that I've been having as I get older. Thank you, martial arts. But I think I'm 20 years old again, and I can still do it. And she's a larger lady. We'll just leave it at that. And as I'm trying to pick her up off the ground to stand her up, everyone hears this loud pop out of the lower nether regions of my sweatpants. Oh no! And I went down like a sack of taters. And I've spent the last 4 days on my back. I'm finally, after a little bit of cracking, I'm finally back on the mends and standing up. But on on the flip side of that, I've been having left hip issues, I guess, where I was going to need a walker myself. I don't know. But whatever I did now is fixed my left leg. So all that hobbling around that I did, trying to, get in the deer stand and all that whining and complaining that I was doing, it's all fixed. Even falling down the hole. Yeah, another little fun thing when we were out scouting around and everything at night, there was a hole at least 4 foot deep that Eric and I are walking along, and all of a sudden I go, whoop. And I go down in this hole.
I heard about that.
Yeah, had to do a body reset to get to stand back up. But whatever happened to my right side of my back has fixed the left side of my back. So who knows? How was yours? How was your Thanksgiving?
It was good. It was good. Yeah, it was. It's good to hang around people that you care about, and a lot of the people that I know here in Texas now are newly friends of mine. So I'm just kind of learning and meeting everybody now. But it was nice to hang around and have some good conversations and eat a little turkey and watch a little football.
Oh yeah, all good.
But, I hope everybody else out there had a great Thanksgiving as well. No matter where you're at around the world, we hope you guys are being blessed and you are around loved ones. So today's episode, I think it's episode number 38.
38.
And wow. 38. So we're getting going, aren't we? And today's episode is one that's going to be a really, really challenging one because it's hard enough talking about when and how to leave relationships. That's challenging in itself to know when. But this one right here is one that we don't really talk about a whole lot because it's almost like we just have to kind of navigate this uncharted water by ourselves. And that is after you have made a decision that the person that you're with is not the right person, how do you let them go? And I'm not talking about the conversation. I'm talking about the heart feeling. How do you get them out of your heart, out of your mind, out of your thoughts? You know, how do you like release metaphorically that feeling of oppression that their thoughts put on you? You know, the
sadness,
the memories that you guys have, right? And the broken promises sometimes, and the unfortunate future plan that you guys made that will never come to fruition now. How do you let that go? And that's just as challenging as having the actual conversation itself, is letting them go from your heart. And so what I've done is I've just kind of put together my top 10 things. And look, I'm not going to likely come up with anything that's going to be earth shattering. You know, some of the stuff you guys might already know, but it's good to have a conversation and to go over it because it does help. And some of you guys listening right now are probably going through the exact same thing. I know that nearly everybody who's listening to this podcast has been in this situation at least once. I doubt any of us has gotten away unscathed from this topic, but some of you guys are actually still going through it. Some of you guys can think of someone, a man or a woman right now, that you're not together in a relationship, but you still haven't let them go. Right. So in a way, you're still very much in a relationship with them as you were before, because you can't seem to let this go. So today we're going to talk about that hard thing. And I'll tell you, on the Big Show podcast, Dwayne and I have spoken a lot about love and a lot about dating. It can be a big part of our lives, and that's why we talk about it so much. And who we choose as our partners has a profound impact on who we become and also how we love in the future. So making the right choices is extremely important. Falling in love is one of the most beautiful feelings in the world. Who doesn't love those butterflies that we get when we're giddy about someone we're interested in? When it comes to getting assistance, though, as far as loving, there's no short supply of podcasts, books, shows on how to attract love. There's even plenty of help in the avenue of how to navigate your relationship while you're in it as well. But what happens when you fall in love with someone that you can't have or can't be with? That, my friends, is a situation that many people find themselves in. And that can be an emotionally exhausting and painful experience, whether it's due to distance, social or cultural barriers, or other circumstances. Falling in love with someone that you can't have or can't be with can leave you feeling helpless and lost.
And this is also, this is not just romantic relationships. Again, we shared this just this past week, a loss that a non-romantic love loss, but a loss nonetheless. But these are not just dating or your ex-spouse. This is family members. This is the butterfly effect of, if we want to say when they get divorced, you have, aunts, uncles, in-laws that you can't be around anymore. This goes out. It's not just for your ex-spouse or your ex-girlfriend, ex-boyfriend.
Many of you guys already know, I was married for about 13 years, with her for about 15, and we've been divorced now for over 2. One of my favorite people on this planet was my ex-brother-in-law. Her brother was probably one of the most stand-up men that I've ever ran across, and that's saying a lot. And and I hate not having him in my life. I hate that we don't have that friendship that we once had. It just, things change when relationships change. But letting go of someone that you can't be with, it's very, very challenging and often a painful process that requires emotional resilience and self-reflection. because whether it's due to incompatible circumstances, unreciprocated feelings, external factors beyond your control, the journey of releasing someone from your heart can be liberating and transformative, but it can also obviously be very painful.
Yeah.
In this show, what we're going to do is we're going to do the best we can, guys, to explore the delicate art of letting go. We're going to offer insights and practical steps to help you navigate the complexities and untangling of your emotions and finding a path forward towards healing. Now, remember, letting it go is not about forgetting, but rather about making space for personal growth and new possibilities. It can even be as important as preserving your health if you're with someone that you know truly isn't right for you and
sanity
will ultimately be the end of your heartbreak or demise. Sometimes, guys, and you guys know this, you love that person so much, but you know you can't be with them.
Right.
You love them and you see the good in them. You see the potential in them, but your heart says, she ain't for me. He ain't for me. And there's 1,001 reasons why you might come to that conclusion. But let me tell you something. When you know in your heart of hearts that they're not the right person for you, it sure is easier said than done to let them go.
Yeah.
It is one of the easiest things to say, but it is not easy at all, because we've all been through it. And some of you guys are going through it right now. Letting go is a courageous act of self-love and self-preservation that has to happen for you to move on to better things, to have a better quality of life. And that opens the door to a future filled with new connections and new opportunities. And some of you guys out there still have not let that person that you love go from your heart. And it's been holding you back far too long from those new connections and from those opportunities that you know you're missing up because you're not ready to accept or embrace the opportunities that are coming because you're hung up on what's her face or you're hung up on what's his face. So today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about 10 ways on how to handle the pain of loving someone you can't have. But before we do, I don't want those who turned in to not be recognized for coming this far. And I want to briefly talk about the pain that you'll have to face in order to leave a relationship with someone that you know it just can't work. Because leaving someone that you can't be with is undoubtedly one of the most difficult and emotionally taxing experiences life can throw our way. And the heartache that accompanies such a decision is often profound, as it involves navigating the intricate web of feelings, attachments, dreams, and things that have woven themselves into the very fabric of your emotions and of your life. And the difficulty lies not only in, I'd say, the conscious choice to part ways, but also in the process of entangling your heart from the person who has become an integral part of your life. It means letting go of shared moments, and that hurts. It means letting go of whispered promises, and that hurts. It means letting go of the anticipation of a future that will now take a completely different course, and that hurts. Mm-hmm. The realization that the connection that you desire cannot materialize, it's a heavy burden to bear, but you're not alone. Myself, Dwayne, and many of the people sounding off in the chat room have all had to bear that burden. It's something that can be done. It's something that must be done. Moreover, leaving someone that you can't be with requires a acceptance of circumstances that might be beyond your control, whether it's timing issues or external pressures or fundamental differences. It could be religious beliefs. It could be lack of respect for you. Or it could be toxic traits that you noticed in the other person. And the acknowledgement that the relationship can't flourish, that can be a very bitter pill to swallow, because
it's not fair.
It's just, you've come so far to be the person that you are. Mm-hmm. And let's be honest, we all want to think that we're pretty decent at choosing the right friends, and we're pretty decent at choosing good character in people. So when we choose someone and it doesn't work, it's a self-reflection that's hard to digest, because what it does, guys, is it forces you to realize that you're not as good at choosing as you thought you were. You're not as good at vetting as you thought that you were.
Right.
You're not as good at foreseeing as you thought that you were. And that hits hard, especially for more of the prideful people and the more of the prideful feelings that we have, myself included. That acknowledgement also clashes with the persistent hopes that many things might change. You know, it adds a layer of emotional turmoil that you don't want to have to face. And the emotional attachment formed over time makes it challenging to sever the ties that bind you. It's a process that involves mourning not only in the loss of a romantic partner, but also the loss of a companion, a confidant, a friend, a supporter, and many times someone you really loved.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's someone that you really, really love and you can't be with them for ABC reason.
Right.
And that void left behind can feel overwhelming. The fear of loneliness can be overwhelming. The unknown future can be overwhelming. And the intensity of the emotional struggle can be paralyzing. In essence, I guess leaving someone that you can't be with is really a test of emotional resilience if you think about it. It necessitates a deep dive into self-reflection. We all have to face that fact, understanding, self-compassion, and that's hard for a lot of us to do, the self-compassion, understanding that we're flawed, understanding that we're not perfect is really hard for a lot of us to do. And the journey is fraught with moments of doubt, sorrow, nostalgia, as you grapple all the conflicting of emotions of wanting to hold on and the necessity of knowing that you have to let it go.
Yeah.
It's just, it's not fun. No matter how you slice it, it just, can I just be honest and say it sucks?
It sucks.
It's absolutely sucks. So despite that, within this hardship lies an opportunity, if you can see it, for personal growth and strength. There is a chance to redefine your identity in all this. There's a chance to rediscover your individual aspirations, to cultivate a deeper understanding of your own needs and your own desires. And while the road to healing might be arduous, it's a transformative journey that can lead to a greater self-awareness and the eventual opening of your heart to new possibilities if you're able to finally let them go. So let's dive right into it. How the heck do we do that? Jimmy, it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
The first thing, and these are my 10 best ways to do it. The first way of truly letting someone go is acknowledging the feelings that you have. That's the first step. You have to practice self-care and prioritizing your well-being. And that could include engaging in activities that bring you joy and fulfillment. It could be taking time to rest and recharge. It could mean surrounding yourself with positive people who encourage and support you. It's important to be gentle and patient with yourself, though, during this process, and to avoid self-judgment and criticism, because we can go down that dark road very quickly.
Yeah, you spend time trying to figure out what part did I play in it. A lot of self-doubt. I mean, you go through all those mental gymnastics when you're dealing with it. And again, this covers everything from romantic relationships to family to friends. I mean, you have that self-doubt. What part did I play in the process? You get stuck in your own head.
Yeah. And, you know, there's something to be said about that. You should not ignore your role in this. We're not perfect, but just don't go down a deep, dark path that's going to be end with you beating yourself up, metaphorically, of course. So I think by focusing on self-care and prioritizing your needs, I think you can then kind of rebuild your sense of self-worth, find happiness within yourself. Remember, and you guys know this, but remember that healing takes time. It's not going to be a quick snap of the finger. And it's okay to take things one day at a time. With time and patience, though, you can begin to move forward towards a brighter future of your love, your joy, and your fulfillment, because you deserve those three things. Understanding that you came this far, and you came this far for a reason. I'm not the most religious man in the world. I try, and I'm on my own journey for religion. But I do know this. I know that God will not give you more than you can handle. And I know that he oftentimes asks his best warriors to fight the hardest battles. So if you find yourself fighting some arduous battles, and you say to yourself, enough is enough, I've been through enough, understand that you came this far for a reason. And I don't know what that reason is, guys. Unless we talked privately, I would not know. You would know more than I do. But here's what you do know. You do know that that relationship wasn't good for you.
Mm-hmm.
And although there might be many reasons for that, you know that deep down inside that if you continue that relationship, it'll lead you to more hurt and more pain than the pain you're going through right now. You are here for a very good reason. Yes, it sucks. Yes, it's heartbreaking, but you know that you must move on. So acknowledge the feelings and prepare yourself for the conversations and choices that have to be done. So that's my first thing. My first thing is that you really have to acknowledge the feelings. The second thing is accept the situation.
Yeah.
Accept it because it's here and it's not changing and it's not going to go away. Accepting the reality that the person that you love may not be able to reciprocate your feelings, or that the circumstances of whatever's happening is preventing you from being together. It can be very, very difficult, but it's a necessary step towards healing and moving forward to accept it. It can be very tempting, guys, to hold on to or hope to or try to change the situation. But this can often lead to more pain and more frustration. How do I know? You've already done it. I guarantee you that 80% of you listening to me right now have already tried to hold on longer than you should have.
Yep.
You held on to hope longer than you should have, or you tried to change them or yourself or the situation. And how did it end up? It ended up with you going through more pain and more frustration. So let's just be honest. You've already tried, haven't you? So just accept the situation. Instead, by accepting this situation, you begin to focus on yourself and what you can control, because you can't control a lot of it. If you could, you'd be happy, but it's beyond your control. Most of ours controls. So it's important to remember that the acceptance does not mean giving up on love or settling for less than what you deserve, but rather it means acknowledging the current reality and working towards finding peace within yourself. Accepting the situation, by accepting the situation, you can begin to let go of the pain and heartache and move towards the brighter future that you deserve. Dwayne, I'm sure that you probably have a couple stories that you could probably share or look back on where this is hitting dead center in it.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know if you want to be limited to a time frame or.
And go for it.
Well, I mean, the acceptance piece of it. It's not widely, out there because I didn't make it that way. But my brother passed away a week ago, and he and I did not have a relationship for, I would say, the last 10, 13 years. Before that, I won't get into the details of why, because there were people that may watch the show, and I already resolved it in my head that they all thought he's a nice guy. I'm going to leave it that way, and because that's just kind of how I am. And it was a relationship that due to things happening, I had to step away from it. I had to walk away, and we never got to reconcile, obviously. And then, upon finding that out, I've had to kind of deal with that piece of it. And I've had to come to accept it because, well, I don't have a choice, but looking for the apology that I'll never get, the change, of course, those things will never happen, but I have to, look back and have a peace about it. That's just one of many. I shared things with you guys about, my mother. That's another one I'll never get an apology for. But I've got a peace about it, and I've grown from it. I've turned that pain into purpose. My ex-wife, I mean, there's just a number of relationships that I've had where, I ended up being hurt, and I would never get an apology or anything that, would, help me reconcile. But I just had to get to a point where I accept it now. Do I think about it every day? Oh, yeah. But you've got to get to a point where you can smile and find, the good things. I mean, when you were talking about, purpose and God's plan, I know that can be a kind of a slippery slope. But I look back over the years and the things that have happened to me and where I've taken that, where that pain is done and where I'm at today. I've made connections with people, friends, I've gotten remarried. I've done, a lot helping, my wife out where she came from, again, different friends and things that I've done that, I wouldn't normally do that. And I would say that all the things I've been put through, it made sense, turn that pain into purpose. My whole thing, and I don't know if this further down the list, is basically taking, I call it the turd sandwich you've been given called life, eating it and trying to find a way to make it taste good. Yeah. Try to find, look for the positive. I mean, again, I don't get into my story too much, but you've heard just kind of, the Cliff Note version of it. I'm sucking wind every day. I'm out there trying to make a difference, trying to move that needle forward, and, trying to look at the good in the world. And I would just, ask other people to do the same. But yeah, I have lots of stories.
You do. And I'll tell you this, man, for what it's worth, I've had a chance to hang out with you for about a week, face to face, and hear some of these stories that I had never heard before. And you've really gone through a lot of stuff, dude. You really have. One of my favorite sayings to say whenever people share what they're going through and they're having such a hard time going through it. And I don't mean to say this to downgrade anyone's journey.
Yeah.
But it really holds true. And what I say to people is if you had a chance to put all your problems on the table for everyone around you to see, and everyone at the table had a chance to put their problems on the table for you to see, you'd be happy to take yours back. Yeah. And when I listen to some of the things that you've gone through with your relationships, with your family, personal health issues, your children, life in general, I tell you, man, there's not many men out there who are as strong and resolute as you are. So for what it's worth, you're an impressive, you're a great friend, but you're also an impressive individual because you pushed through a lot of adversity. I want to let you know that.
Thank you. And the boys turned out decent.
They did, man. You got a couple of great boys. We had a chance to, one of my favorite things is talking to younger men. Teenage, early 20s. They always kind of gravitate towards me for some reason. They see me as a big brother or an uncle or whatever. And again, maybe it's just my want and desire to always have been a father, and I've never been a father. But I had a great time talking with your boys, and I could also tell that it wasn't the first time they've heard some of that stuff, but hearing it from a different person really kind of drove it home,
Yeah.
And that's one of the funny things about life that I notice is I can say something and it can fall on deaf ears depending on who's listening, and then someone else can turn right around and say the exact same thing that I said, and they'll get it like that.
Snaps.
I don't understand why that is, but that is life. Before we move on to tip number 3, I was going through the comments section, and I think it was either Jeff or Father X. I can't remember. It was Jeff. Jeffrey's on. He says, last week at the end of
Oh.
the podcast, you all mentioned if we have a story, we'd like to share it with the channel and what not to reach out. I reached out to the channel, but haven't received a response yet. Any idea when I get a response from my message? Okay. So it's less of a question and more of a statement. All right. So I believe that Cheryl's the one that's running the
back end piece. So she's
things like that. And I know the channel gets a ton of emails from all the different social medias. So just give it a few days, Jeff. I apologize, but they always do try to get back to everybody. And in the future, I might try to get a little bit of admin rights myself to go through some of these messages to personally respond back to take the load off of Cheryl. But she does do the best that she can. And I see Michael Keller from Switzerland's on. What's up, Mike? Good to see you again, buddy. Father X, our good friend, is on. Sandra Jason is on. Let's see. And Mike McDonald and Alicia is on. And I saw Jules bust my chops too earlier. I think she said right here.
Yeah, that's right.
Talking about me wearing shorts to go hunting. Okay, listen, these guys look like they came straight out of like a academy, freaking brochure or something. I mean, you and your kids had matching like outfits and boots on and everything.
And what's weird is, I mean, I bought all the youngest one who's almost 18, but the oldest one, he went and bought his own, but yet we all look the same. So it was like just carbon copies. It was hilarious.
Michael Keller, all right. You guys, question for me, Jimmy. What is your recommendation for if you met your dream woman and you'll never have a chance for her outclassing you, yet your heart always skips a beat when you see her? So outclassing. Okay. I wonder what that means. Does that mean, are you referring to like a socioeconomic class? Like she's higher class and you're lower class,
like uptown girl,
or are you referring to like more like her upbringing of manners or something? You're, the East Side boy and she's kind of like from the West Side or something. I don't know.
I'm thinking like Billy Joel, little Uptown Girl or something.
Uptown Girl.
Yeah, that whole thing.
Well, it's hard to know for sure because I would need a little bit more information. But from your question, it sounds like you care about her. And I mean, if your heart skips every time you see her, I will say this: life is short, as you know, my friend. Very. And I would make it known. I would make your feelings known. I have to imagine that you have some sort of history, some sort of time with her, and as opposed to like, you just saw her walking on the street last week and, I don't expect you to drop down to your knees and confess your adoration for her if you don't know or have a relationship with her. But if you have been in her space for a little bit of time, I think that women still, even in today's world of 2023, they still want a man to pursue. They still prefer men to pursue. Hold on. He said something else.
Yeah, good comments. And actually, Dedicated asked a good question. It's up a little higher.
Hypergamy, I imagine, is what he's referring to.
Hypergamy? Yeah.
Hypergamy. Yeah. So, so it kind of seems, Mike, that you're implying that she's high class, you're not high class. She, you're afraid that she might feel that she can do better than you. That's my guess. Is that what you're taking away from it, Dwayne, as well?
Yeah, he commented here. Says that she's human and you're him is considered subhuman. So somebody being homeless next August. She owns her own business, so financially she makes more money than him. It's like a uptown girl, kind of an uptown girl situation. Yeah, I mean, I think you were talking about. I mean, it's one of those shoot your shot. If she wants to be with you, great. If she don't, she don't.
I agree with that. I think you shoot your shot also, and you do it in a classy way. Find out as much as you can about the kind of man that she likes. And I would tell you that, women are going to have their preferences as far as like, how much money a man makes, things like that. Because if she's making X amount of money, then if she's like many women, they're going to want her to make as much, if not more. But that's
they don't date down. They don't date down unless they're looking for the Chad.
Yeah.
The good guy and then want to chat up there a little bit.
Yeah. But it doesn't mean that that's all women, right? It just means that it's majority. So there's a chance right there where money doesn't impress her. Also, for those women who money do impress, to Dwayne's point, they date a few Chads and they realize that, these guys can't bring them anything but broken hearts anyhow. So, they get to a point to where they realize that life is passing them by and their friends, have families and they're happy and they just want someone to love them. And whenever they grow on an interpersonal level, instead of dating opportunistically, they start to hopefully date idealistically, which is they start to look for men for what the man can offer. He's assertive and he's confident and he's a leader and he loves her and things like that. So, I would say definitely make your feelings known, because if she doesn't want you, Mike, you need to know that. If she does want you, Mike, you need to know that. Either way.
Yeah, well, he'd ask her how to, let her go, get her out of his mind. I would say, shoot your shot. She tells you no, well, that's your closure. I mean, it's the best you're going to get. You can, again, shoot your shot. If she laughs at you, whatever, it's probably not the quality of woman you want to be with anyway. She's into her hypergamy. And as we've talked about for 38 episodes now, hypergamy is not taking advantage of the hypergamy is not necessarily a good thing. You're probably better off. You can wait until she hits the wall and scoop her up then. But really, would you want her at that point? Because she's now just interested in you because she's had her fun.
Yeah. And a different Mike McDonald, he says, my girl is in love with two people and she can't choose. She's in and out all the time, but he always takes her back.
Oh boy. I always take her back. Hypergamy. She knows that she's got you, the safe guy. So she's going to play you as long as she can, boot her butt out of here and change the locks as quickly as you can. I mean, I can't make a decision. You've just made a decision. Get out.
Yeah. I agree with that advice.
Won't even play with it.
Mike, there's not that many, there's not that much ammunition in a man's arsenal in today's world in dating. But the one I want you guys to understand this, men. Okay. Your time and attention is your currency. Mm-hmm. Women love attention. That's why social media ruins women. Men love sex. That's why pornography ruins men. Since we're talking about women here, what do women want? They want time and they want attention. Right. We've talked on many podcasts about women. They have to get out there. They have to throw their junk out there on social media for all these, quick, obvious little likes that they'll get. Women must have attention. And to Dwayne's point, you're giving it to her. At least it seemingly is. If you keep taking her back, you're obviously giving her some of your attention. You need to get to the point to where either she shits or get off the pot. She needs to make a decision. And if you come to the realization, which you should, by the way, that you're not a silver medal, that you're not a second place trophy, then you need to turn your back to her and walk. And cut it all off, man. Don't give her any more of your time. And I bet you one of two things are going to happen. You know that when you turn and walk, one of two things are going to happen. She's either going to chase you because she's let you got too far and it's uncomfortable that you've walked and you seemingly are fine with walking this time, where before you were not, because all her little ploys and all her little nuances, you know what I'm talking about, Mike, all the little things that she knows what to do that makes you happy, they don't work on her anymore. So she's going to get very, very uncomfortable and she'll come chasing you, or she won't, and you'll never hear from her again. But you can now let her go, which is some of the things we're talking about on this podcast. You can finally get to the point where you have peace within your heart to where you go, look, I gave it all that I could. I loved her. She didn't reciprocate that love. She was torn between two men. Well, then guess what? If she's torn between two men, then she can have that guy. Yeah. She can freaking have him. Go have him. Let her go ahead and jump in the hole that she's already dug. And then the best way of you getting back at her is her seeing you happy with someone else. That's my advice. Because right now, my friend, you're living in hell.
And Mike
you're living in absolute utter hell, knowing that you're just good enough to be kept around, but not good enough to be chosen as the gold medal. And no one wants to go that way.
Wait do you see his next comment? She is playing him. Playing. The last comment. Here, I'll pop it up there for you.
Please. Her
Boom.
Kids, and they won't live with her. I'm guessing live with her.
They won't leave with her.
Mike, you already know the answer to this, my friend.
Yeah.
She's using you. She's playing you like a fiddle, my friend. She's playing you like a fiddle. And this is kind of the situation where you see guys who do this with women oftentimes too, where they will have this girl over here for these things and this girl over here for those things. He's kind of getting his cake and eating it too. Isn't that kind of what she's doing with you, my friend? Oh, yeah. You're the rock. You're the one that can be counted on out of the two of those guys. You're the one that she trusts around her kids. You're the one that she knows that you're going to keep them fed and alive and a roof over their head and alive, right? So she's using you for what she needs you for. It ain't good enough. That ain't good enough.
Yeah.
You already know what to do, my friend. You already know what to do. The hard part is doing it.
Mm.
But I'll tell you, man, people are going through it out there. Both those mics are going through it. So let's jump back into number 3 because we got 10 of these. Number 3 is take time for self-care. Self-care, that can be a powerful tool for healing from pain of loving someone that you can't have when dealing with unreciprocated love like Mike McDonald's going through.
Yeah.
It's easy to feel isolated and alone. So practicing self-care activities can help you feel more connected to yourself and others.
Mm-hmm.
And it can provide a much needed sense of comfort and support. You've got to take time for yourself, guys. Okay.
This week has been a great example.
Huh?
This last week has been a great example of that self-care.
I don't know Mike McDonald. He seems like he's kind of new to the show, but I get provide protective vibes from this guy.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling that he is the person that she can count on. And he's one of those guys that likely does for everybody else and doesn't do a whole lot for himself. I don't know that to be the case. I'm just guessing from what little bit I know, but I've got a good intuition, and that's what my intuition tells me about Mr. McDonald. So Mike and other people like Mike, I want you to know that it's important to focus on healthy habits that promote overall physical health, like getting enough sleep, working out, eating a balanced diet, staying hydrated. Take care of yourself. You know that you should be doing this stuff already. You've been putting it off far too long, but guess what? January is a few weeks away. It's a few weeks away. And by prioritizing your self-care, you can begin to heal from the pain of unrequited love and find peace within yourself. Because remember, like we talked about, healing takes time, and it's okay to take things one day at a time. With patience and persistence, though, you can begin to move forward towards the brighter future full of love for you, joy for you, fulfillment for you. And you need to start doing things that make you happy again. Number 4, surround yourself, guys, with support.
Yes.
Talking to friends. Like this is exactly what Dwayne was just mentioning. Talking to friends, family members about feelings can offer a sense of validation, comfort. It can also help you gain new perspectives on the situation, just like what we're doing now. And we're kind of just sounding off. You guys are asking questions. You're gaining new perspectives. Some of the stuff might be eyebrow raising. Some of the stuff you guys already knew, but it's good to hear. If you find that your feelings are becoming overwhelming, I want you guys to understand that it's not weakness for you to seek professional support from a therapist. That could actually be an excellent option, especially in today's world where a lot of health insurance is covering the cost for these things.
Telehealth. You can do it online now.
That's right. Telemedicine visits where you can do a Zoom type of call and speak with someone. I was talking to Eric on the way from Atlanta airport to his house, about a masculinity coaching type of thing. And here I give that advice to other people, but yet I still take time to try to do things for myself. Guys, I say this with all humbleness. I'm not new to the gym. Okay. You may not be able to see me because I'm wearing this, but Dwayne will tell you when I walk in a room, you know, I'm walking into a room. I'm 6'6". I weigh 262 pounds.
Yeah.
I'm not a small man. My point of bringing that up is when I go to a gym, it's very comfortable for me. I can literally walk into any gym in this world and go arms, legs, back, butt, shoulders, abs. Despite that, I still get a personal trainer from time to time.
Right.
Why? Because it's good to seek professional support when you're trying to accomplish a goal, even if you feel that you can get it down yourself. Just hell, it's nice to just have a gym partner every once in a while. It's nice to sound off on someone every once in a while. It's nice to not have to think about what workout to do every once in a while. It's nice to ask dieting and nutrition advice every once in a while. I don't spend the entire year with a personal trainer. It might be a couple weeks once a year, but I still do it. And still with here as well as here, I still leverage the clout, the respect of friends like Dwayne and many others who I know, like, and trust whenever I feel that I need their help. And the people who you can really call your friends, you think that guy, there ain't a chance in the world that if I need Dwayne, he's not answering that phone. He's picking up the phone, and it doesn't matter what time it is. Now, he might be snoring. He might have to take a CPAP machine off or whatever, but he'll be there for me. As soon as he Darth Vader's his Darth Vader, he will be there. And guys, I want you to have the same nucleus, the same, a circle of influence within your life as well. If you cannot think of at least 2 people that you could call on a whim, then that should be where you start. Yep. You need to get out there and expand your social network a little bit. Okay. And that's a whole nother podcast. But if you don't have anyone to talk to, if you don't have that social network right now, then think about a trained therapist, because they can help you work through your emotions. They can help develop coping strategies, provide guidance on moving forward past this issue that you guys have. And they can also offer a safe and non-judgmental space to express feelings, excuse me, without having to feel like you're lesser than because you're a man and not exposed to express feelings. It makes you feel that you're not feminine because that is what they're trained to do. You're not going to be dismissed. It's not going to be used against you in future arguments, and you're not going to be invalidated. Remember, support is available, and it's okay to reach out for help when you need it. Seeking support actually is a powerful step towards healing and finding peace within yourself. Please don't neglect step number 4, which is surrounding yourself with support.
Yeah.
Number 5, and this one, some of you guys suffer. You suffer with this one. And you're going to shake your head when I say it. Number 5, avoid contact with this person.
It should go without saying, but yeah.
You already know it. You already know it. And I can feel you shaking your head because you freaking know it. If possible, because sometimes it's not, but if possible, avoid contact with this person that you love, because it can be a very helpful strategy in coping with unreturned feelings. Constantly being reminded of the person can make it really challenging to move on and heal. Okay. Especially when you're frequently seeing them or you're interacting with them, text message, phone calls, whatever. And while it might not always be possible to completely avoid contact, minimizing interactions and taking space between the two of you can be a powerful way to prioritize your own well-being. This needed time away from them can help give you a new perspective. It can help develop new interests and friendships beyond them. It can help begin to focus on your goals, your aspirations. And remember, it's okay to prioritize your own needs and taking steps to create distance or set boundaries that can be an important part of healing process. For some of you guys, you can't avoid, contact because they are the mother of your children or the father of your children.
Right.
Okay. But here's what you can do. You can set boundaries to where your interactions with them are solely focused on your kids and not about the relationship of yesteryear.
Right.
That relationship between you and her or you and him and your children are two separate things. I don't care. It's none of my business if you cheated on her, she cheated on you, what happened that was toxic. It's kind of irrelevant in terms of what kind of father are you to your children. Women don't like hearing what I'm about to say, but they oftentimes like to say, well, if he did me wrong, then I'm going to keep him away from his kids because he's a POS.
Right.
My rebuttal is, I don't care if he slept with 15 women behind your back when you're married. That does not mean that he's a bad father.
Right.
He could be the best father in the world and a shitty ass husband. Those two things can exist in the same person.
Right.
Flip it around. Same thing with her. It goes with the women as it goes with the men. Understand and let your ex-partner know that your guys' relationship has zero bearing on the relationship that you have with your children. If that's a situation that you guys are in, set boundaries between you guys and make it about the kids only.
Yep.
Guys, don't forget to like and support the page. Hit the like button down underneath. Share this video with someone. I know you know someone who could benefit from this video. Share it with them. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Most of you guys already have. Thank you to those who have already liked and put the heart emoji already up. I can see you guys, and those of you who have liked the comments already. Thank you so much, and thank you for all your interactions in the chat room. It helps the algorithms reach more people whenever you guys like, share, and subscribe. So thank you. Number 6 on how to let go is focus on positive aspects. And what I mean by that is when you re-engage in activities that bring you joy and fulfillment, it can be an excellent way to distract yourself from the negative emotions and focus on more positive ones. It could be pursuing a new hobby, spending time with loved ones that you haven't seen in a while. Find things that make you guys happy. Find things that boost your mood and overall well-being. It's also good to practice gratitude and focus on the good things in your life, even when times are tough. Guys, there's something very important to say for the man or woman who wakes up and says, well, my life is kind of shit right now, but I'm grateful for A, B, and C. I don't have the best health right now, but I'm grateful that I don't have A, B, and C. I may be unemployed right now, but I'm grateful that I have food in my belly and a roof over my head. Whatever the case may be grateful and focus on gratitude. It goes a long ways to help your mood. Okay. Number 7, and we kind of talked about this before, we at least alluded to it, set boundaries. If you find that contact with this person that you love is unavoidable, set healthy boundaries. That could be an essential strategy in coping with unrequited feelings. It's crucial to communicate clearly what you're comfortable with and what you're not comfortable with. And that can and those things can help prevent misunderstandings and preserve your emotional well-being. So be sure to set those clear-cut boundaries. This might include like I don't know, setting limits on how often you speak or see the other person.
Well, usually, unless it's an emergency, and usually this will come in handy, or this happens with people with children. But normally, what you want to do is have it be well, if you go through courts, which you usually do, they have various apps for that. But I would have all of your communication in writing. When you receive an email or a text, don't, unless it's the house is on fire, your kids in the hospital or whatever, sit on it. I mean, just give it time, because like it or not, you're going to be you're going to have some emotions in there. Come up with a well-crafted response, maybe even have a friend or someone else proofread it. Actually, it's one of the things we talked about when we had some of our guide time. Have that person proofread it and go, okay, this could kind of come off, kind of sound like a jerk here, or if you want, anyway, whatever. But wait a period of time and then make it. I talk about gray rocking. If you haven't heard of it, gray rock method, Google it. And then have your responses just have zero emotion in it. You're addressing the facts. So if you get an email from your ex-spouse and they're like, you piece of this, you're garbage here, and I can't believe that, and our kid's an idiot because of you, and 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 then he needs his backpack. Your response is, I will return your backpack. That's it. That's it. You're the focus, and that's it. You've got to set boundaries. You can't control what other people do, but you can control your response to it. That's the only part you have control over. Outsmarting. I always tell people, chess, not checkers. You got to set your boundaries and implement those things, no matter how you feel. I mean, when I would get emails from an ex-spouse or something, I'd sit there and, I want to tell you what a piece of garbage you are. And then after a while, I was like, you know what? Yeah, book bag will be there on Tuesday.
Yeah, it's very, very healthy, and you guys know it's needed. Set those boundaries. The 8th thing that you guys can do, the 8th tip, if you will, is don't blame yourself. Because when you deal with the pain of loving someone that you can't have, it's common to blame yourself for the situation. Remember, it's essential to understand that love is not always within our control. And it's not your fault. You can't force someone to reciprocate feelings or control the circumstances that prevent you two from being together. Sometimes it's completely out of your control. So don't blame yourself. Sometimes love simply doesn't work out despite your best efforts. And while it can be challenging, accepting this reality can help bring a sense of peace and closure. Remember, loving someone who can't love you back does not diminish your worth as a person. You are still deserving of love and respect and happiness, regardless on the past relationship. Focus on self-compassion. Focus on being kind towards yourself. Remind yourself that you did the best you could in a very difficult situation.
Yeah.
And by releasing blame and self-judgment, you can finally begin to move forward towards healing and finding peace within yourself. So number 8's tip is don't blame yourself. We got 2 more good tips for you guys. Number 9 is allow yourself time to grieve.
Yeah.
Because grieving the loss of a relationship or the idea of being with the person you love, it's a step in processing difficult emotions, period.
Yeah.
It's okay to feel sadness, pain. It's okay to feel anger as you work through these feelings. But give yourself permission to experience these emotions without you judging or shaming yourself for feeling that way. Understand that grief is a natural, healthy response to loss, and it's an important part of the healing process. So as you move through your grief, know that healing takes time. Be patient. Be gentle with yourself. Trust that you'll begin to feel better over time, because you will. It may not be possible to completely forget about the person. Fair enough.
Yeah.
But the pain will begin to lessen. And you will begin to find joy, fulfillment in other aspects of your life. So just remember that it's okay if you give yourself time to grieve. And the last tip that I got for you guys is on how to let go of someone that you can't be with, is to try to keep a positive outlook. Remember that love and happiness are possible, even if it may not seem like it right now. Keeping a positive outlook and focusing on the present moment can be a helpful way to shift your perspective towards more positive experiences rather than dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. Try to focus on the present and find joy in small moments and simple pleasures. Consider setting goals, guys. Consider pursuing a new interest. Find something that excites you the way that you used to be excited. Surround yourself with people who bring positivity and encouragement to your life. Remember that everyone's journey is different. Healing is going to take time, but trust that the universe, that God, whoever you believe in, has a plan for you, and that it will all work out in the end. And by maintaining and hopefully having a positive attitude, you can begin to attract more positive experiences and create a brighter future for yourself. Before I share my final thoughts, Dwayne, did you have anything you wanted to add?
It's just, yeah, I mean, the big thing is you're never going to totally be, you're always going to think about that person the rest of your life. I don't know if that's a spoiler for people. That person, if he was, especially if it was a family member or someone you'd fall in love with, and you shared, a year, a decade, 2 decades, you have children, they've taken your children from you. You have to grieve all that loss and process through that. It's never going 100% go away. The tips that Jimmy's talking about is to help you cope with that.
Yeah.
It's not gonna, you're not gonna wake up one day. It's like when, I mean, a lot of ways you're doing the 6 stages of grief when someone passes away. It's just a lot of times that person's still here, and you have to grieve them anyway. And this goes for your children, it goes for spouses, family members, but it cuts it takes the sharp pains away where you still think about them. And then one day you're going to remember a funny moment with that person. It's still, but of course, going to quickly remind you of the horrible stuff, but you're going to get to a healthy spot. I mean, this is not none of these things are meant to, wipe it out, get amnesia and forget that relationship, because you did change as a result of it. Jimmy, you've had past relationships that haven't worked out, and you've grown from those things. And you act a little, maybe, one relationship you had when you were 10 years old, or, when you were, pulling Sally's hair in the inkwells. I don't know if you ever did that, but you're not that old. But whatever that was, took her Game Boy. I don't know, whatever that was, you've carry those memories forward. They're part of who you are, and you have to learn how to live with it. You need to learn how to, go every day. I mean, sharing a little bit. I've had a few challenges in my life, and they shape who I am. But I take that and go forward. I mean, even with, the loss of my brother, it's hard for me to watch something where, deaf people. My brother was deaf. Whenever I see something on TV or something, it reminds me of that. I remember bad things, but I try to remember a good memory. And it's just all about, dealing with what happened and then moving forward. That's kind of my takeaway from a lot of this. Is it's not these aren't like self-help. It's going to fix everything. It's teaching you to manage it, to be a better person. Because, even though you've been hurt, you can still go out there and help people. I think, you and I are both living proof of that, where we've had, our turd sandwich given to us. We're out there helping people, and we want other people to do the same thing.
Well said. In closing, guys, I want you to understand it's very crucial to remember that you are worthy of love and respect, regardless of the situations you've been through. And while it's okay to grieve the processes of your feelings, it's essential to not allow yourself to stay in that hole for too long. Remember that you're important and that your happiness matters. I want you guys to focus on self-care and prioritizing the things that bring you guys joy and fulfillment. Keep the positive outlook going. Trust that the universe has a plan for you. It's important to also remember that nothing is as important as you are, and that you deserve to be happy and fulfilled in all the areas of your life. So by taking control of your well-being and focus on your own needs and desires, you can begin to heal and move towards a brighter future. In the heartbreaking journey of leaving someone that you can't be with, the difficulty lies not just in the act of physically parting ways, but in the intricate process of disentangling the threads of the shared emotions and dreams that you guys had. It's a formidable challenge that demands a profound acknowledgement of the limitations imposed by circumstances, timings, or irreconcilable differences. The pain and void and the persistent echoes of what could have been make this departure a very challenging emotional labyrinth. The heart, resilience, and fragile are all done in equal measure. They grapple with the simultaneous push and pull of holding on and letting go. Holding on and letting go. It's a testament to the strength of emotional bonds and the human spirit's tendency to hope against odds. That's why we do it. We're hoping that things change. And despite that, we still know that it must be let go. Yet, within the heartbreak lies an important transformation. As you navigate the storm of emotions, there's an opportunity for self-discovery and growth. We all go through it. And the process becomes a pilgrimage to the core of your being, prompting reflection on personal aspirations, needs, and the resilience inherent in the human spirit. In the struggle to leave someone that you can't be with, you unearth a profound truth that letting go is not a failure, but an act of self-love. It's a courageous embrace of reality, a choice to prioritize your own well-being over the ache of unrealized possibilities. And through the tears and the longing, there's going to be something that emerges, a strength born of acceptance and a glimmer of hope for a future decorated with new connections and unforeseen joys. That's coming your way. That's your future. You're going to be better off. You're going to be happy again. You're going to feel loved again. You are worthy of it. So as you navigate the rugged transgressions, when you navigate the rugged terrain of goodbyes, remember that the difficulty is a testament to the depths of your capacity to love. And in time, the pain might subside, leaving behind wisdom, and the courage to let go is also the courage to welcome new beginnings. You guys were put on this planet for a reason. You're important and you're special, and I don't want you to forget that. I'd like to thank all of you guys for joining into another episode of The Big Show, hosted by myself, Jimmy Smith, and alongside of me, my co-host, good friend of mine, Dwayne Ward. We really appreciate you guys tuning in every single week. Make sure that you tune in next week for another episode of The Big Show here on Dad Talk Today and only on Dad Talk Today, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. Until then, you guys have a great week, and we'll see you guys next week. We'll see you soon.